Bread at the price of $3 during this bull run, that wouldn't be surprising to me whatsoever. And even though that's not financial advice nor guarantee, the reason why is because I think it's pretty much on the right place. Because, of course, I'm talking about Bread on the Base network, aka I think pretty much one of the best meme coins out there. And also on top of that, pretty much one of the best networks out there, because you got to think about this. People love, meme coins on Solana. They love meme coins on, Ethereum. And granted, I think, some of them will do hypothetically amazing. But I think oftentimes people ignore the Base network because, after all, it's pretty much made by two real deal giants. Now, what do I mean by this? You take a look at how the Base network is actually Coinbase's Layer 2 network. And yes, you heard that right. Coinbase, one of the biggest exchanges out there, so reputable, everyone pretty much knows about it. But also on top of that, it's also something that's made in collaboration with Optimism. Now, when I say that, some people, they may think, whoa, Optimism. But in case, someone who doesn't know what Optimism is one of the leading and most reputable and most popular Ethereum Layer 2 scaling solutions out there. So I think that is such a big deal. Now, a lot of networks out there, they're pretty much made by unknown individuals. Like, you don't really know about them. You don't even really know how many resources they have, if they can keep the project afloat, if things don't go that well. You just never really know, right? But when it comes to the Base network, I don't think it's going to fail, hypothetically, because unless something crazy happened to like Coinbase or Optimism or something insane like that, then maybe, but I think that's highly unrealistic, because I think that as long as Coinbase thrives, like most importantly, I don't think they're going to allow for their, Layer 2 network to fail. I mean, that'd just be such a terrible look. I mean, just imagine the look of that, right? It would be horrible. So I don't think they would do that, or they would allow for that. And that's why I really love the Base network, because when things maybe not be doing the best, when it's going through rough water, so to speak, I still think it has the capabilities to push through that, because, again, it quite essentially has that Coinbase support in a sense, because, of course, again, it is Coinbase's Layer 2 network. So when I see a meme coin on that, especially something like Bread with an amazing community, with something that listed in a bunch of major exchanges, how can I go wrong with this? That's just the way I take a look at it. Now, you may be wondering, okay, what is the Base network all about? You say it's a Layer 2. Okay, what is this? Now, a Layer 2 in this case, what it does is that it allows Ethereum to be enjoyed, but at the same time, not necessarily having to deal with a lot of the nonsense. Like, for instance, sky-high gas fees. That's kind of caca when it comes to Ethereum. I mean, we all know that. Also, on top of that, Ethereum arguably not even scalable. So, yeah, that's kind of bad. It's kind of caca, right? But of course, that's where Layer 2 steps in. So when it comes to these Layer 2s, I don't think they're bad. I think Optimism's great. I think something like the Base network is so fantastic. Because after all, Ethereum, it's a very diverse and amazing ecosystem despite its flaws, a lot of fans, a lot of amazing projects. So it would be kind of a shame if it can't be enjoyed. Now, of course, again, that's where Layer 2 steps in. So I really love that. And also, you have to take this into consideration. According to DeFi Llama, aka Decentralized Finance, that's what DeFi stands for. But besides that, Base currently has a total value locked on DeFi that is worth over $1 billion. Man, that's insane. I mean, that's very amazing. So yeah, anyway, take a look at it. I think, Bread is such an amazing meme coin for me. Now, some people out there, they're under this misconception that Bread needs to be like the next Shiba Inu or the next Dogecoin, but I think that couldn't be farther from the truth, because I think that's actually not necessary at all, because you have to take a look at this, right? Back when SHIB and Doge really got their shine back in 2021, first of all, there was nowhere near this amount of options when it comes to meme coins. Also, on top of that, people didn't really know much about meme coins. They were, allegedly less knowledgeable in a sense because they were probably new. Even besides that, I think a lot of concentration as a result headed towards SHIB and Doge, and not to mention they were listed in so many major exchanges. So yeah, they of course experienced that sort of magical run, but I think that type of magic, in a sense, quote unquote, can't really be replicated nowadays. Now, granted, do I think Bread is going to do bad? No, because again, at the price of $3, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $30 billion. It's nowhere near as much as a Doge, for instance. We've also seen SHIB reach around 40 billion. But again, I don't think Bread could reach those heights. But at the price of $3, I don't think it's bad anyways. Because, for instance, $3 is still over 30x from here. So it's not bad by any means. It doesn't mean that Bread is going to do caca if it doesn't achieve Doge or SHIB levels. That's not the case. Even just achieving somewhat of a glimpse of that, that's already very amazing from where Bread is standing as of right now. So I really don't mind, A lot of people keep saying, oh, wow, if Brett doesn't do like a 1000x or something crazy like that, it's caca. But come on, man. Personally, I won't complain about over like a 30x, right? I mean, why would that be bad? I just don't get it. Some people say, oh, it's so bearish. It's like, come on, man. But yeah, besides that point, not financial advice, of course, you have to take into consideration just how massive this bull run could be. According to Crypto.com research, there's currently over 600 million crypto owners, which is insane because if you take a look back at the peak of the 2021 bull run, there was roughly only around 300 million crypto owners. So for the people out there that say that, wow, over 600 million, that's kind of caca. Well, no. I mean, even despite being, the population of the world having billions upon billions of people may think, okay, this is kind of small in the grand scheme of things, right? But even besides that, it's actually a lot given perspective because it's pretty much double what we saw during the peak of what many consider potentially one of the greatest bull runs they've ever seen. So imagine all the FOMO, all the buying pressure, the buying volume that we saw back then in 2021, but just amplified in a much more fantastic way this time around. It's going to be hypothetically so amazing, and I really can't wait. It's just a waiting game at this point. All I got to do is just stay patient and do things that are within my control. Like, for instance, not giving up. My dedication, my persistence, dollar cost averaging, acquiring, holding, and just waiting. That's it, because quite frankly, that's what I can control. If I could wave some magic wand and demand things to pump like, whenever I want to, then it'd be a different case. But of course, that is not true. That's not how it works, and that's how it's never going to work. But yeah, besides that point, it usually takes some time. When it comes to, for instance, typically it's been noted that altcoins, they do peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event as a worst case scenario. Now, granted, it could happen sooner, but again, historically, this has been a worst case. And if we take a look at the Bitcoin halving event, it happened back in April. So 18 months from then is October of next year, pretty much a year from right now. So it's actually not that bad. Something like Brett still has a ways to go. Now, granted, could it happen sooner? Let's say, could it reach like $3, sooner than that? Hypothetically, but again, that's a worst case scenario. So either way, let's say it happens sooner. Great. That's going to Sizzler, going to Applebee's, going to Chili's, if you know what I mean, right? Time to party, time to celebrate. But then let's say it happens a little bit later. Fine, more time for me to accumulate. So I don't mind either way. But again, my strategy is going to stay the same, just dollar cost averaging, because you take a look at the trajectory for Bitcoin. It could look so amazing. You take a look at the Bitcoin ETF, the number of institutional investors, enterprise adoption. It's just through the roof as of right now when it comes to Bitcoin. So even though Bitcoin reached a new all-time high this year, had a big pullback, then it's having a good recovery as of right now, I would say. I still think better days are ahead because under 50,000 during this bull run, that wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. With all those amazing factors, I don't see why not. And naturally, of course, if Bitcoin were to reach those great heights, altcoins, I think they're going to go along with the ride. And also, of course, something like Brett, I think is going to join that ride because at that point, at the price of $3, that wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. What really amazes me about Brett is the community is so solid. It's so passionate. And that's what I really love because naturally, as a meme coin, it's not supposed to have the best use case out there. It's not supposed to have like the most revolutionary and technical fundamentals. That's typically not how it works. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be exciting. It's supposed to be enticing. And that's exactly what Brett is. That's the way I view it. I think it's a very amazing meme coin all across the board. For what it is, I think it pretty much ticks all the boxes. Trying to judge, a meme coin based off the use case is like trying to judge Michael Phelps on his ability to play ping pong. It's like, come on, dude, that's not his forte, if you know what I mean, right? That's not his jam, if that makes sense. If that's his forte, then that's a different case. Why not judge how he swims, if you know what I mean? Amazing, fundamentally fantastic projects, much like Internet Computer, Casper, Caspa, Quant. You can judge that based off the utility and use case. But something like Brett, something like a Cockinu, something like a Dog Elon Mars, something like a Floki, you got to kind of judge it based off the cool and fun factor. Now, granted, meme coins nowadays, a lot of them are beginning to have somewhat of a fundamental use case, but I think that's just the cherry on top. It shows that they're at least improving. So, it's not necessary in a sense. It's not super necessary. Hashtag Jorge Masvidal, if you know, you know. But again, as a meme coin, it's not supposed to. So I think when it comes to Brett, it's good for what it is, hypothetically, in my opinion. And at the price of $3 during this bull run, that wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. I think this bull run could be so fantastic. And I think Brett is that amazing of a meme coin. And I think it's on the right place, aka the Base Network. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's only the captain. I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.